going on, everybody, and welcome to Corner Wrestling Radio. C2C Radio Show is live at C2CRadioshow.com, Spreaker.com, and all of your favorite podcast distribution sites, including Apple, Amazon, Google Play. We're everywhere. I'm Stan Grubb, and my tag team partners, Brian Taylor, is here.
What's up?
What's up? Rob
You
Hefner
sound
is
like you're like a mile from the mic.
A mile from the mic. Let me keep working on that. And how are you, Rob?
I done broke it.
Huh. Let's try that.
Oh, and I'm Rob,
Any
by
better?
the way. That's awesome. I'm glad to be here.
Sounds like the fellas are having some trouble hearing me. That's why. Okay. Is that better?
I think so.
Alrighty then. Weird. The microphone was not working very well. So, gentlemen, how was your weekend?
Oh, it wasn't bad.
Yeah. Rob, how about you, buddy? Did you have a good weekend?
It was delightful.
So last week we talked about the WrestleMania hangover. Brian
talked about how Vince hurt you.
That's right, Vince did. He hurt me deeply. It was very painful. I'm considering other therapy options, but that's okay. Mental health is important, so you have to make sure you consider those. But this week, unless Brian has something he wants to add to the conversation, figured maybe we could talk about the future.
All right.
Brian, any thoughts on the post-Mania hangover before we move on?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about the future, you should know what I'm going to say.
Well, I mean, I never said I was psychic. I just said I wanted to talk about the future, not predict it.
So, let's see if I get this right.
Get it right.
Thoughts and opinions on the Monday night after WrestleMania, or the whole weekend in general?
We can qualify it as the week after Mania and of course Mania itself, if you have anything, because you were away last week. So I think if you have some opinion to put to it, I would absolutely think our listeners want to hear it.
Yeah, but I'm confused. So do you want like Monday forward?
Sure.
Or Saturday, Sunday?
Start from. You know what though? Actually, I want to hear your process here, your thought process, because you know how mad I was. Rob knows how mad I was. The world has heard it. But I really would like to hear your thoughts on Mania and the Raw after.
At this point in the stage of my life, I would much rather hear from you and why you were hurt so bad.
Wow. So you just want to go all the way back over last week.
You were hurt. Like, I don't recall, like, the last time you were so butthurt. I mean, you were, like, really butthurt.
You know what? You're not wrong. That's,
yeah. No offense, but...
No, I'm not offended by it, because you're right. I mean, I was took. Like, when is the last time you remember being so emotionally drawn into a wrestling show where it pissed you off like that?
I mean, y'all may have a different opinion, but well, so I don't know if I would. I don't know if I can recall like seriously, like you scared even me at how butthurt.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I remember you saying, "Damn, Stan, you're really pissed off." And I was like, "Yeah." I was ready to throw things.
I don't know. And again, y'all have seen. Y'all again would have memories just like I would the amount of wrestling we watched together through the years.
Yeah.
Maybe Kurt Hennig turning on the Horseman, maybe. But again, I don't really recall being like that like emotionally. Like I was hurt. Don't get me wrong, but I don't remember just like that.
The last time I ever heard somebody outwardly that mad was when the pay-per-view cut off, and we were all like, "What the shit?" Where Piper comes out, and we're like, "Oh my god!"
Oh yeah, Halloween Havoc '96. Yeah. Wow.
I've just come to the realization that 2 nights of WrestleMania, 80% is going to suck.
Well,
because it's fluff.
It is a lot. It's a lot of shit packed into one show. 2 nights. It is a lot. It's more exhausting, and I don't care what anybody says. AEW pay-per-views, yeah, they're long, but generally speaking, pretty much every match is worth the while. Worth the watch. Worth the time.
Look, let's stop changing the subject here. We're doing a deep dive into your psyche right now.
Tell us how you feel about Xanax.
It all started with my dad. No.
Oh, your dad beat your ass.
You know what it is there's not much left in wrestling that gets me emotionally invested. There really isn't. Like CM Punk's comeback, I was extremely excited about that. I was pumped.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, right? Because I think I've voiced the opinion on Cody before.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if we did a prediction of who I said, but I probably went 50-50 on that it should be Cody, but Roman was probably going to win. Which would be, I think probably where I would have fallen in line.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I want you to think about this for a second. Since Cody has been in the WWE, what has Cody done to dethrone Roman Reigns? Now, again, let's put this all into perspective here, right?
Excuse me.
So we'll buy into the lie that Roman Reigns is the number one T-shirt merchandise seller of all times, right? They came out with that. We were all quite flabbergasted.
Wait, what?
You remember that when they said Roman Reigns sold more T-shirts than John Cena, Hulk Hogan?
Oh yeah. That was like a 15.
Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because again, you still don't see them in the stands. You still don't see them at the Walmarts. You don't see them nowhere. But okay, whatever you want to say with the numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no mistake in the fact that Roman Reigns is quite possibly the hottest act right now. Not only in the WWE, but probably in the world. Right? They've done wonders with it. They turned him bad. They gave him Paul Heyman. And they've just clicked, right? It's just worked. So, in that regard, if you're a booker or a promoter, you explain to me how you or why you thought Cody was going to win.
My personal opinion, or if I was a promoter?
Let's do a promoter, and then this may
get
to the personal side of things. And again, the question is, if you're a promoter,
right,
and Roman Reigns is no hot, why would you put somebody like Cody over who has not even done anything in your company yet? And then again, I want to touch on what I'm asking here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I'm a promoter and I'm looking at this from an overall story perspective, right? The overall story was basically Sammy, KO, and Cody against the Bloodline. That's the overall story. Now, not all working together, but you have two parallel stories against the Bloodline, right? So night one is Sammy and KO against the Usos. Your build has been for a good amount of time. Roman has beaten everyone. The Usos have beaten everyone. There's, quote-unquote, no one left. Sammy has to choose between his best friend and the Bloodline. They built this really, really well. And so from a promoter perspective, if I'm looking at it from that hat, I'm saying, well, yeah, so you're going to be taking down. I looked at it like the Dudes of Attitudes versus the Horsemen.
Yeah, but I'm strictly on Cody. Forget everything else.
Okay. Well,
what has Cody done in your mind to have him go over the hottest act in pro wrestling right now? As a promoter, you tell me why you would book him over Roman.
Well, nothing, because I don't think he could beat FTR. You said hottest act. You got to be careful. I think,
no. I honestly think Roman is truly like he's to me. If I'm saying this, I think Roman is truly on a different level right now.
I think from a promoter perspective, the storyline was intertwined. And maybe that's where I goofed up. Because I looked at it like that. I looked at it as this is an intertwined story to, I don't want to say break up the bloodline, but to topple them, at least for a period.
But again, as a promoter, business, right? I don't want the booker aspect. I want the promoter. I want you to put yourself in Vince McMahon's shoes.
Ew, no thank you. Gomez Adams looking.
If you are generating so much money off of Roman, why would you put Cody over? Now, there's no doubt Cody puts butts in the seat, right?
Absolutely.
But who puts more butts in the seat right now? Roman or Cody?
I don't like this conversation already. I guess you have to say Roman.
Okay,
you have to say the bloodline, realistically. You have to acknowledge that the bloodline is actually doing it.
Okay, so this leads me to my next point as far as the promoter aspect of it. Right? You had virtually little to no build-up for quite possibly what should have been, in the fans' minds, right, as the biggest WrestleMania main event since WrestleMania 3.
It sure is how they built it.
No, but the problem is they didn't build it to that grand of a stage, right? We have to remember Cody got hurt.
Yes.
Right? Which then stalls the story. Okay? But again, the other parts of the story, the overall story, are still playing through.
Yes.
Right? So Sammy and Kevin and that and, Jay and Jimmy, they're all just playing through. Right? But I want you to think about this. If Cody hadn't got hurt, and we could have started this at, say, what's the big one before the Rumble? No, 2 before the Rumble. What's 2 before the Rumble?
Survivor Series?
What comes after the Survivor Series? Do you know?
I don't know what that pay-per-view was called.
All right.
I'd have to look it up.
All right, so let's say Cody doesn't get hurt. We start this the way they started WrestleMania, but it's the main event for Survivor Series. Cody loses. The Monday after Survivor Series, Brock Lesnar gets involved, turns on Cody, right? So we're just moving these back 2 months. Pay-per-view after the Survivor Series, Brock beats Cody. Because honestly, I don't see how Cody can beat Brock, right? But the stipulation for the match is if you lose to Brock, you don't get a title match. You'll never be able to fight again. Unless you win the Royal Rumble. Cody wins the Rumble. So now we have 6 months build up as opposed to whatever you may call the little Rumble forward. Because that would realistically only, a month and a half? After that?
Yeah.
Okay? But you see what I'm saying? So for a promoter, in my opinion, it makes sense for him to lose and to push the story. Mm-hmm. Because ultimately, when it does happen, it's going to be that much bigger. It's going to be huge when it happens. But it's also going to be better because people are so emotionally involved like you were that I keep baiting them on the hook. I want you to be so supercharged that when Cody does beat Roman, Cody jumps Roman as the hottest ticket on the planet. From a promoter, right? That's my thought process for the promoter and why I think it was the right decision.
So you think Cody losing at Mania this year was the right decision?
Yes.
Okay.
After thinking about it, do I necessarily agree with it? No. But again, if we're now talking, the WWE has tricked us all into pushing a long-term story, it would have been a smart decision. Because again, now it leads me to the other part. Why, as a fan, did you get that mad?
I think what I saw was a lot of things happening, and to me it seemed like, well, we're finally going to get a quote-unquote legitimate happy ending at WrestleMania. Because how many years in a row, seriously, have we gotten just a lackluster end to the show? Night 2 has been, since they went to a 2-night setup, Night 2 has historically sucked. So I think what I saw of it, and a lot of it probably comes back to, outside of wrestling, having that be like, okay, this is what I'm looking forward to. It can't. I've said it many times. You can't possibly screw this story up. And Brian, to your defense, you've said many times, oh yeah, they can, and they did. But I seriously felt like this is almost a slam dunk. It's just impossible. Not even Vince McMahon, and that's a mistake right there saying it.
But can't get shit here. Oh,
right. You can't possibly be that dense. If I'm looking or talking to Vince and company, you guys can't possibly be this dense to think that this will be a good idea. Well, yeah. And it's looking more and more like they're going to try to take this all the way to next year to Philly.
All right, so let me
go ahead.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
Because I think in this particular situation, we have to look at the past before we can look to the future. Okay? Do you remember in the 80s when they would have feuds that lasted a year?
Sure.
Or more? I mean, Dusty versus the Horseman went on forever. Sting and the Horseman went on forever. Freebirds and the Von Erichs, you name it, right? These things stretched, right? So I love that you're so invested to begin with, even though I don't quite get why you were that mad. And again, maybe I'm just, I haven't had a storyline in forever to get like that. But for me, right, just for me personally, and again, I cannot believe I'm saying this, I'm not sure they're going to get this wrong. Because I can, again, honestly see a decent little run with Brock.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's either going to go two ways, right? Brock's going to wreck him, and then, at the very end, it's going to be a stipulation that if you lose to Brock again or whatever, maybe inside Hell in a Cell or something.
Oh, Jesus.
If you lose to Brock for the third time in Hell in a Cell, you will not get a world title shot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So Cody beats Brock in Hell in a Cell for the third title shot, or
right.
for the title shot, right? But now, guess what? All the little Cody fans, right? Oh my God, this guy's getting built like Hulk Hogan now.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we're starting to get somebody who we can all believe can beat Roman, because he just beat Brock. And then, now he's now got to run through, the what do they call that group?
The Bloodline?
Yeah, the blood. That's it. He's got to run through the Bloodline with Kevin and Sammy. Because they're going to be his true friends. So now we're going to get all types of six-mans. You're just going to stretch it out. And maybe by the time they get to next WrestleMania, and look at the emotion you had this particular night, what do you think your emotions are going to be like next year? And Cody beats him.
Depends on the build.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is you've had a year build. You've had a straight, legitimate year build for next year's WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. So
I'll bet you'll cry.
No. I feel like the moment's missed.
He will be the first one to buy the T-shirt on the. Cody just won the world championship. What are you gonna do?
Cry.
So, I mean, I don't know what you want me to say to that comment or question. Like, yeah, it's in the moment of that main event ending that way. Yeah, absolutely, I was furious, and I can't really remember being that emotionally charged in a wrestling show, like. And I'm sure there's been a time since, but in a long, long time, like maybe the 90s. And I don't know if it was just, as Hulk Hogan would say, I just worked myself into a shoot and just said, I'm in, I'm all in, blah, okay, cool. That's probably where I was. And I think the difficult part of it is, with not just you saying it, but quite a few people saying, what did Cody do? What did Cody do to earn winning the title, so to speak? And there's not a good answer. I mean, yeah, he won the Royal Rumble, but we already know now after quite a few years that winning the Royal Rumble doesn't necessarily guarantee squat. So that ain't it. I don't know if it was just I feel like it was a compilation of a lot of things. Just buying into the story and getting behind what I thought was going to be just a full-fledged good guys prevail in the ending. And I'm a pretty big fan of that. You know that I am. So I think I just saw it that way. And when it didn't happen that way, I was like, damn, like, how do you botch it that bad? And you got to remember, like, this is what I said the day it happened, like, minutes after it happened, and then the next day. And it took a bit for me to really have my brain go, okay, back up a little bit. what did, because you ask a very good question, because it's a question I asked myself, and it even irritated me when I first thought about it, because it's like, well, he went through the pec injury. He went through everything he went through in AEW. And then it hit me. WWE still looks at it like, well, WWE fans don't know what he did in AEW. WWE fans saw him as Stardust last. So, yeah. And it's not like they can show footage from All In, or his ROH days, or New Japan days, or his Impact run. So, the inside fan, the super fan, so to speak, knows it, but what's that, 10%, if that, of the audience?
Okay, so let's stop on that point for a second.
Sure.
So, from a promoter, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I take that train of thought, that the majority of my audience may not even know who he is,
Mm-hmm.
and I bring him in, and I put him in a program with Seth Rollins,
Mm-hmm.
and he gets hurt, and he's out for 8 months. Is that about right?
Yeah.
So he's out for 8 months, right? Now, again, when he comes out at the Rumble, the music hits. Okay, yeah, they're all trained monkeys anyway. Whoever's there, everybody's screaming for, people are going to scream for,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's just like Roman Reigns. They'll boo the piss out of him, but as soon as Roman throws up the one, everybody in the audience throws up the one.
Right.
Right? So again, the level when Cody comes out doesn't really concern me because, again, I know that most of my audience probably don't watch other wrestling programs, and I can be sure of that based off of numerics. Numerics. All right?
Yeah.
The numbers. Yes. Right? So I know this. I know I'm the top. But again, if I know that part of my audience probably doesn't really have a clue, I need to push this guy and give him time to develop. And again, had Cody not gotten hurt, WrestleMania probably would have been different. Because I would have had 6 months to build a story around as opposed to 2. Or I would have been able to go for a year if I would have almost been at a year by the time WrestleMania hit.
So do you think the plan would have been Brock all along before Roman, and it's the injury that just set everything kind of cattywampus?
No, I think this was the plan all along. Was somewhere throughout the year, Cody gets the title shot, Cody loses. Brock turns. Because, again, it's easy to explain why Brock would turn. Right? There has to be a reason. And I haven't, don't think I've watched Raw in a week or so. So I'm not sure if the reason has come out yet. But with Paul Heyman and Brock having history, I'm sure there's a reason somewhere on why he turns. So again, all that could have taken place months ago with a build up to a big one. Because again, I don't know if I think it was a press conference. I think Roman did a press conference after WrestleMania.
Yeah, he did.
Right? Do you remember what he said?
Yeah. It was irritating as
What'd he
hell.
say?
It still irritates me. He said, "We're not making fast food, y'all. We're making filet mignon. We're only in the,
Right.
what do you say, second inning."
And then he said in the past that there's nobody that is as big as me to take the title.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to agree with him. There's nobody. I mean, I would expect nothing less even if Kenny went over there. Or Okada. Sure, they can out-wrestle the shit out of them. Sure, they're more entertaining to watch. But at the end of the day, they're not on the same hype level.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to figure out a way to get Cody up to that level. Right? What was one of the big things about when he was beating Strowman and all this stuff? Right? We all knew somebody should have beat him.
Mm-hmm.
But as it turns out, Strowman is down at the bottom of the thing, and Roman's white hot because Strowman didn't have it to put asses in the seats. In order to dethrone Roman, you got to have somebody that's going to put twice as many asses in the seats. And a 2-month build-up just isn't going to do it. But I love your energy. I really did. I mean, I was laughing. I just didn't understand it.
I don't know what to really say to that. I mean, to be honest with you, it's just one of those deals where, you know, there's not much in WWE that I get excited about. Like, okay, like we got the draft coming up. I always enjoy the draft, but let's be real. The draft is in 2 weeks, right? What exactly are they going to do with this draft that's going to make it make any damn sense? Probably nothing. We're gonna get splitting of tag teams, which makes no damn sense. We're gonna get maybe the splitting of the titles, WWE and Universal, and that ain't gonna make no damn sense because they're not gonna make it work. And we're gonna get to WrestleMania 40, and people are gonna look at the draft and go, God, that draft didn't do a damn thing. Just like they have every other year. So when it comes down to it, I mean, I guess this was just one of those things where it's like, man, this is really cool. Cody's actually getting what I thought was being built for truly a big payoff. And maybe you're right. Maybe he actually still sees that, and maybe it's 40, maybe it's SummerSlam. You know, who knows? But at the end of the day, in the moment, yeah, it was just like... I don't even know how to describe it. It's frustrating because, you know, I'd like to be able to say, God, Triple H just does such a great job with building the story. And, yeah, he kind of did at times. But, like, was it really? Like, yeah, the Rumble, you know, I was happy to see him win. Like, I didn't want to see anybody else. I damn sure didn't want to see it be Seth Rollins and Roman again. I think we've seen that a lot. You know, and I wasn't really looking to see... I don't know. There was nobody else that I thought made sense. Sammy winning at Elimination Chamber would have been amazing. It would have thrown everything completely off kilter. But that would have been kind of cool. So outside of Sammy, I don't know. It's not even an experiment. The whole plan with Roman now is just like... I think you may have said it earlier, Hulk Hogan. It really is kind of Hogan-esque. They're just like, okay, well, we're just going to keep throwing people at him, have him beat everybody. They're going to get him to 1,000 days, which should be about the summertime. And they'll probably look at it and go, let's go to Mania. You know, we got to 1,000, we got to SummerSlam, let's go to Mania. And then they're going to get to Mania, and most likely they're going to go, can we get to 2,000 days?
Let's go to Forbidden Door. No.
Right. Right. Can we get it to the point where Conor McGregor comes to WWE? You know what I mean? Like, just throw crazy theory in after crazy theory.
But again, though, at the end of the day, a lot of people may be missing. Like, they're so emotionally invested that they may not see the forest for the trees. Right? Again, for all the trash we've talked about Vince, right? And again, I bet you I'll lay money he has had more misses than he has had hits. Right? But there is no denying that when he finds that one true legitimate superstar that he cannot make money. From Hogan to HBK to Stone Cold to The Rock to Mick Foley, and the list goes on and on and on. But at the same time, you have these. You have to have the polar opposite to push the program. And I think that's what he's got here. And nobody has patience for the WWE or Vince McMahon anymore. And that's why we're just like, oh, he's going to wreck this. Mm-hmm. No. I am actually quite curious how this is going to play out. And I am now intrigued. Again, I made no bones that I thought what they were doing with Roman was wrong. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm the first one of the three to jump ship on the WWE. Bashed them, talk crap about them, whatever. But if they've got me intrigued on what comes next, they may have hit. Not just me intrigued, but you so emotionally invested.
Right.
They may have hit on something. And we just have to have patience and let it play out. Which again is
gross.
It's part of what the modern audience doesn't have.
Rob, he said the thing. He said let it play out.
Normally he says change the channel.
Yeah, I'm stunned. Let it play out. Wow.
Let it play out. Let's let it play out.
Did any of you see the video clip of Cody opening the box from Triple H?
No.
I don't know where I saw it. I was trying to look it up while y'all were talking, but there was some video, it was on social media somewhere, where like Cody.
You cut out there. You cut out. I didn't hear the first part.
Where Cody did what now?
There's a plastic. There's a video of Cody sitting there in a plastic tub, and he opens up this plastic like suitcase tub thing, and there's a sign. There's a card, and it says, "Hey, I think you need this," or I thought you wanted this. H.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
As he pulls it out, it's the Stardust outfit.
Yeah, it was a clip from one of the BTE episodes. And he's sitting there in the locker room, and he's got this big old suitcase thing, and it says, "Hope this still fits, H."
I might have seen it.
That's where it came. I was like, I saw it on social media I'm going, oh, that's so true.
Well, but again, though, I think in this one we have to let it play out.
No, I refuse. I ain't letting nothing play out.
If they don't give him the title after this has run its course, then they fucked up early. But if he gets the title and he's that much bigger of a star, that's how wrestling should be. Or sports entertainment. I'm sorry. I'm not allowed to use the wrestling term.
Yeah, we're talking WWE here. Get it right.
Yeah.
If, in fact, I can go this far. I can say if, in fact, they are able to maneuver their way to making Cody actually a bigger star with this, if this pays off and I end up being wrong, and my guess is still that they're going to 40. They're going to WrestleMania in Philly, and Cody's going to win it there. Although a lot of people seem to think it's going to happen at SummerSlam. Look, I am. I don't know why I'm such a big Cody fan. I just think I am. I don't know how else to describe it. I like Cody. It's cool. But to me, if he wins it at SummerSlam, then everything you did at WrestleMania with the whole emotional aspect, especially from my perspective, to me, it's cheap. If you're going to go the distance, go the distance. Yeah, maybe it pays off, maybe it doesn't. Maybe fans react great, maybe they don't. Maybe they missed the moment. I still believe they missed their moment. But I'd be willing to be wrong.
Wait, there was an emotional aspect? Are you talking about this past WrestleMania or in the future?
So if they can take what was built in my opinion, what was built this past year for Cody and move that, translate that to Mania next year at a payoff like that, that's huge. I don't think they can do it.
But, all right, so do you honestly think there was that much emotion invested in? Now, again, take yourself outside of the Cody fan you are. Do you actually think there was that much emotion for Cody?
If you look at
That's
the
why
reaction,
they're building it.
Yeah, well, look at the reaction by the crowd when he lost.
No. Yeah, I'm talking like again from his start in the return to the WWE.
Yeah.
To WrestleMania. If you're not a legitimate Cody fan, how much were you truly invested? Because again, you have to remember he was out for 8 months. Mm-hmm. And those 2 months from the Rumble to WrestleMania, a month and a half or whatever it is, how much true emotion did you get? Other than a couple of promos where they just took little shots at each other. Did they come to blows during that time?
He and Roman?
Yeah.
No, they did actually a really good job of keeping it only with promos.
Right. So you see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Like, again, what you have to understand, too, is part of the reaction are those fans that are, like, so against Roman keeping that title that they would have booed for anybody. Mm-hmm. Right? You also have to look at the emotion was not for Cody. The emotion was for Sammy just prior to that losing. Everybody was still pissed over Sammy losing. That when Cody lost, it just kind of overflowed into that. Mm-hmm. Now, again, do I think there was emotion involved? Yes, but I think there's a lot of other factors. And if you take a Cody super fan out of the equation, the average fan will probably tell you, well, he should have lost to Sammy.
The reaction I saw on social media, the reaction I saw on everything from TikTok to Twitter, Facebook, you name it, was really split. There was a lot of Bloodline fans saying that Roman still the top dog, so to speak. There were a lot of fans, Cody-wise, that were like, I can't believe they actually didn't do it. They didn't pull it off, quote unquote. So there were a lot of people that felt one way or the other. So did it draw emotion? Yeah. Can it draw even more? Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think I am curious to see if they can. I don't know if I'm as invested as I was this past Mania as I will be for, whatever they decide to try to do the payoff. Like, if they could actually do a title shot at SummerSlam, have him lose again, and make him have to fight his way through the Rumble again to get a title shot. They could. And that could be an interesting ride. I won't deny that. As a matter of fact, that could be intriguing the more I think about it.
Yes. Again, I think we forget sometimes the lessons of the past.
Oh, yeah. Right? Yeah. I mean,
so
there's
Dusty,
there's only but so much more that an industry like this can do. I mean, for fans like us, the older fans, because how much more is there really to show us that we haven't, unfortunately, already seen? And I guess I just, like I said, worked myself into a shoot about it because I just totally thought there's no way they're not going to do this. But the reality was, I didn't think. I likened it to the Horsemen and the Dudes with Attitudes, but the reality is, Sting and Ric Flair's rivalry, by 1990, when he wins the title from Flair, it was almost 2 years. Because it started at the Clash of Champions, where him and Flair went the distance. That was a lot longer than 1 year.
And Dusty and Flair went at it for years. And
Yep.
after you got out of the first 2 years, Dusty never held that title again.
Right.
But yet the feud went on forever. Same thing again with the Freebirds and the Von Erichs.
Mm-hmm.
Hogan and the Heenan family. Hogan never lost that title to the Heenan family.
Yeah.
All right. Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, right? Again, was a smart build that took time.
Mm-hmm.
Hogan and the Macho Man, it was a smart build that took time, and you didn't see it coming until it happened. But if Cody beats Roman, right, at WrestleMania, they just wipe their hands. This is over.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure Roman's going to get time off. Once he loses, I'm sure he's going to get some time off.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows he's earned it, right? If they had just, again, wiped their hands at WrestleMania and moved into the next one, Roman's poor little star probably would have started to plummet. Because at that point, with the Usos losing the tag titles, the breakup really begins. Because ultimately, that's what's going to happen when Cody does win. Like, the bloodline is going to start falling apart for real. Which means your tag division is going to suffer. World title division is going to suffer. No telling what they're doing with whatever. The guy with the S's in his name.
Solo Sikoa.
Sikoa. Yeah.
The guy with the S's in his name.
Yeah. Whatever they're going to do with that guy.
That's crazy.
But again, though, his Roman star will start to decline. You have to be very calculated with when you pull this off.
I suppose next you want me to acknowledge that Sonny may have had a good point that Brock and Cody could be a good match.
No, I listen. It's your opinion, right? I absolutely found it baffling that you just went straight like ham.
It's the first time I can really remember doing that. And Punk coming back, I was psyched. That was cool. Shawn Michaels winning the title at WrestleMania 12, I was hyped for that. But nothing close to that reaction. I think the last time. Ooh, wow. Okay, so this is interesting. The last time I really felt that angry was when the Rockers broke up. That's 1991, 92-ish.
Well, and then the time that Gold Dust tricked you.
Well, that's emotionally scarring in a different way, sir.
The other thing too is you're looking at a sale. Cody is an unproven commodity as a world champ. Roman, I'm telling you, is white hot. He is supernova.
I can't believe you're saying these positive things about Roman.
I know. I've never thought I'd hear Brian say he was white hot.
No,
supernova.
listen, what did I tell you? If you turn him bad, right?
He's still going to suck. I think that's what you said.
I don't think
He's
anybody
gonna be
could
on
have
fire.
ever predicted Roman Reigns embracing the heel turn as well as he did. I'll say that.
No, the best thing they did, which I did, I don't know if anybody brought this up. Again, turn them bad. You put him in the U.S. title and let him get a little bit there before you move him up, right? I don't think any of us anticipated Paul Heyman. Because I guess Paul would have been with Brock at the time.
Yeah.
But that was the best thing that ever happened to Roman. And again, the stuff they're doing with the bloodline intrigues me. I want to see how this plays out. Because, again, if they do it right, it'll be the best thing the WWE has done since probably Hulkamania. Or maybe Austin and The Rock.
So that was kind of how I looked at it last week. And what I said was, this was a question that wasn't my original idea. I heard this off of, I don't know, some podcast I heard. I think it was SAP, but I'm not sure. Basically put, Roman says during his press conference, we're just in the second inning, y'all, right? And I thought, and I agreed with this when I heard it, but it's 41-0. So, like, yeah, you got 7 innings to go, but do you really want to watch a one-sided thing? And that was how I looked at it. You know what I mean?
You know why you want to watch that? You know why you want to watch that one-sided game? Because when that guy hits that one home run and puts one point on the board, you're going to cheer your ass off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, I will use Dusty and the Horsemen. Right? At first, it was Dusty getting his ass beat by the Horsemen. Then it was Magnum TA getting involved. Then it was the Rock and Roll Express. And it just grew into this thing that literally carried Crockett Promotion for years. And the Horsemen always had the leg up because there were 4 of them. Well, 5 of them if you count JJ, 6 if you count Baby Doll when she was 7 if you count Luger when he was just the associate. Whatever. You see what I'm saying? But again, it was at the point where everybody loved the Horsemen, but you just had such sympathy for Dusty when he was just getting straight up mauled by him. Because you knew when Dusty started beating up Tully Blanchard, you cheered. Even though 30 seconds ago you team Tully.
Let's do this real quick. I'm hearing a lot of echo and I don't know, some weird thing with the audio. Let's pause for a second. Let me reset my connection and call back into us. We'll go ahead and pick up right from here. Because I want to make sure that the rest of this conversation comes out clean so that it's easier to edit, but at the same time so everybody can hear it. Can we do that?
No, I don't think so, man. You're just, I mean, right now you're being like Austin Theory or something.
Ew. Oh, now I'm definitely going to hang up on you. Give me 20 seconds. We'll be right back, folks. If you're listening live to C2CRadioshow.com, give us about 20 seconds and just refresh your page. If you're listening in the replay, it'll hopefully be edited together and you won't even notice. Be right back, everybody.
Acknowledge me, Sam.
Oh, no. We'll be right back.